Hello and welcome to a brand new module here at Joomla Skills, where we will be dealing with many different aspects of working with images. And as we go through our lessons, we will actually work with a variety of different types of image editing programs that will give you the flexibility that you may need as you work with images. I know that some of you out there probably have Photoshop, for example, on your computer and would like to be able to know just how to do things in that program. In this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at how you can resize images in Photoshop. As you are probably aware, the images that we shoot on today's cameras are just way too big for use on the internet. Most cameras today have a pixel width of somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 pixels. And our websites, if we opened up our website here, most websites today have a main presentation area of around 1,000 to 1,200 pixels. So what we end up with is a situation where most of the images that we shoot with our cameras are 5 times bigger than they should be for even an image that you would want to spread out over across your whole screen. So your images need to be resized before you start working with them on the internet, and as many people have discovered that they're just way too big. And so I'd like to show you in this tutorial how you can do that in Photoshop. Here's one of my favorite spots on earth, beautiful Bavaro Beach in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And the first thing that you might want to do is check out the current size of your image, and you can do that in Photoshop. Up at the menu, choose Image and go down to Image Size. And if you're going to be working a lot in Photoshop, it really is worth taking the time to learn the keyboard shortcuts. And you'll notice that they're displayed right alongside of your menu options. And so if you can learn the Alt-Control-I, that's going to open up your window a lot faster every time you want to check or change the size of your image. On your keyboard, if someone hasn't messed around with your keyboard shortcut settings, Control-Alt-I. And that brings up your image size pop-up window. And this not only gives you the information of the current size, but also allows you to resize it. Now, if someone has messed around with your keyboard shortcut settings, they will show up here. Whatever it has been changed to will be displayed here. So this is a good one to learn, Control-Alt-I, and that pops up the window. And this is perhaps the easiest way to resize an image, especially if you're just having to change one. Just go in and let's change the resolution to 72 pixels per inch, and then up here in the width. And let's say we want to display this image as a nice, long, wide image right across the full presentation of our area on our website. What would that pixel size be in the template that we're working with? That would be 1200. So we could just change this to 1200, hit OK, and that resizes our image just like that. And I should point out, if you're new to Photoshop, it looks like it's become really, really small. But that's just an illusion. It's become proportionately smaller than the image display size that we had there a second ago. If you hit your Control key, hold that down, and hit your plus key, you can increase the display size on your computer. And as you bring it up, you see that it's not losing any resolution as you bring it up. Now, of course, if you go too far, you're going to start losing resolution. But as long as your display size is within the 1200 pixels across your screen, then you'll be fine. You won't notice any degradation. So your image is still fine, and then all you have to do to save it would be to either using the menu option and choosing Save As. You don't want to choose Save because that will destroy your original image. Do a Save As and then navigate to a place where you want to save that to. You could change the file name if you like. But now, as to the size of quality, Photoshop is such a high quality program that using it, I usually just go with 9 as a quality size for website images. If I was using some of the freebie programs, I might choose 100% or the highest quality possible. But for Photoshop, you can get away with 9, and this gives you a good bang for your buck as far as file size compared to quality. Okay, so images. And if we just click on it once, all of the file information will show up here at the bottom of our Windows Explorer panel if you're using Windows. And here we can see that we now have a dimensions of 1200 by 800, and it also gives us a file size. But this is a rather large image to display on your website. You normally wouldn't have an image this size showing by default. You might set up a situation where people can click on a thumbnail and have a pop-up come to the screen that's this size. But the displaying size that people see when they go to your website would normally be much smaller than this. However, if you still want that nice, let's say, for example, here at PayPal, you can see this is a beautiful image that goes right across the screen. In fact, if we brought our ruler over, we see that it's even larger than the 1200 that we're working with on our template. And yet they've set it up. They've designed this image so that no matter what size screen it's being shown on, it's still going to work. You know, as if people are on an older computer with a really small monitor resolution size, they still get an interesting image. But it does start out with this beautiful widescreen image. But you'll notice that the dimensions are much more pleasing. It's much wider than it is high. And so if you wanted to do something like that with your image in Photoshop, it's very easy. You can go over here to the crop tool. Let's click on that. And you'll notice that you get some dotted arrows around your image. And here you can just grab any edge of your image and drag that down, maybe a little bit more, and then just hit your Enter key, and you've got a nice cropped image. And then just save that using the Save As. Here's another good keyboard shortcut that you really should learn. Shift-Control-S, so that you're not always having to grab a hold of your mouse and go up to the menu option. You can just simply hit the keyboard shortcuts. Control-Shift-S for save. And perhaps this time you might want to rename it. And now as we look at our folder, we see that we have a nice widescreen version of this. Now with Photoshop, anytime you want to revert back, you can go to your History palette and click back so that you revert back to your image size. Now if this History palette isn't showing up on your screen, all you need to do is go to the Window tab on your menu strip and turn that on. And that same principle applies for many different types of palettes that are available in Photoshop. Most of them are turned off most of the time, but as you need them, you can come to the Windows tab and turn those palettes on. Okay, and then if you want to also make some smaller versions of this, remember Control-Alt-I gives you that pop-up window. Another good size for computer use is 900 pixels. So we could make one that size, and then remember Control-Shift-S. Just rename it _900, so we know that that is 900 pixels just by looking at the file name. And then you could just repeat that action several more times to give you a variety of sizes to choose from as you're working on your website. So Control-Alt-I again, and just change that out to 600. Hit OK. Control-Shift-S. Change your file name to 600. Save. Hit OK. And again, Control-Alt-I. And do 300. Hit OK. Control-Shift-S. Change your file name to 300. So you can see how easy it is to quickly make a variety of different sizes of your image for your website. And there you have it, one method of resizing images in Photoshop.